Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. You're looking live at PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday. It means we'll have good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show in just a second. You missed it last night. The Denver Nuggets are your NBA champions. Put it on the Heat. Win the series 4-1 tonight. The Golden Knights can wrap up the Stanley Cup Finals. The College World Series is all set. We'll talk about that. Texas had a heartbreaker. Lose a ball in the lights. Routine pop-up. Walk-off winner for Stanford. But let's go to the Titan More Hotline. We're joined by Buddy Martin. You can listen to Buddy on his program, The Buddy Martin Show, Monday through Thursday nights, I think. Maybe he goes to Friday nights now.
Football season.
Football season, but he's a four-nighter right now in the summertime.
Yeah, that's me.
Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing.
Watching your Nuggets?
Oh man, I'm so joyful today. I feel so good, not just because there's a team I followed and covered for 8 years, but there's something so rewarding about seeing a team play together as a team like the Nuggets did. They truly do like and respect each other in the highest level. And Jokic is something special, and Jamal Murray is something special. What I saw last night was a bunch of people in the Pepsi Center who were basically in church and just worshiping their Nuggets and being so grateful. It was a wonderful scene. And it reminded me, Shane, of what sports is all about as a fan. We have had some tremendous things in recent weeks, and that was one of them. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I enjoyed the postgame as much as anybody.
Cliff says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellog. Great news. Now we don't have to talk about the NBA anymore after today.
We never talked about it before, so there you go.
Yeah, we don't talk about it much on here. But if you missed it last night, Tennessee advances. Boy, they had a dude, buddy, I don't know if you saw, he was throwing 102 miles an hour. So Tennessee advances. Texas loses in a walk-off fashion to Stanford on a routine pop-up. The right fielder lost it in the lights. It's a shame. But so Gators play game on Friday at 7 o'clock. You never know, weather permitting out there. It could be delayed. But they play the Virginia Cavaliers 7 o'clock. And buddy, what a weekend for Gator baseball. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with Scott Carter and talked about it on your program. The atmosphere was unbelievable. You know, I've been to a lot of baseball games on campus. Obviously, you know, the new facility has brought a lot to it, and you can put the berms were just packed. And the great thing about it is I think you can just sell as many general admission tickets out there and in the outfield till nobody can stand, because they
fire marshal doesn't care.
I don't think the fire marshal gives a damn about that out there, but I could be wrong. But it was a great atmosphere, and congratulations to Kevin O'Sullivan and his crew.
For sure. And our Kyle Curtis was at the bar, on the bar, left berm, and stayed there both games, bought his ticket, went in and participated in that. And there again is something special, a bond about a fan. Shane, you not spent too much time as a fan in a ball game. Now, you were there the other day, but you always been a player, athlete. But these guys, these people coming together, I mean, Kyle talked about the Ryapel family, with 12 of them, sitting together there, and the experience they had. And here's the great thing about that. What I love, I'm so in love with sports this morning because our country is, I don't want to preach a sermon, but we are so divided in our country. We can't agree on the time of day, Shane. We got to, I don't care what politics you're in, our president might go to jail. You know, it's just a civil war. We're at war in our community, but we can come together at a ballpark. We can experience something exceptional, like they did last night at the Pepsi Center in Denver, like they did at Conduit Ballpark, which is, you were there, you know what it was like. The atmosphere was just tremendous. There was a bond among the fans. And the BT Ryapel story, what a great story. I don't use the word great very often. He is not going to play professional baseball, we don't think. And he's playing it for the love of the game, Shane. Here's a novel concept. playing for the love of the game and for your teammates and the fans, that's a beautiful thing when it comes together.
I think if I'm BT, I think I changed my strategy here. I know I
Yeah.
got a really good job offer ready to roll.
Yeah.
Maybe I go, you know what? Let's see where I get drafted
Yeah.
and let's see what kind of money I get. Then let me reevaluate whether I'm ready to go into the real world or not. So we'll see. But
I
they
agree
played
with
well.
that. I agree with you,
Yeah.
Shane. It's
Yeah.
called leverage, by the way.
Exactly. Text on the Titan MR text line from Darrow says, "Good morning, guys. You can tell the baseball team really gets along well. I like how they interact with the fans and kids after the game." Yeah, I tell you, uh, just the culture of your team, regardless of the sport, goes a long ways.
Yeah.
And we know, I can't remember what year it was, a couple years ago, buddy, and we may have been doing podcasts then, but there was a lot of friction on the baseball team. It just, you could tell that they didn't get along. And I remember Cardozo talking about it, but this team, and that's kind of the question I want to ask our fans today and ask you, buddy, because you've been covering the Gators for a long time. Is this the best baseball team Sully's ever had? Now, he's had some great ones that didn't win it. And maybe the team that won it wasn't one of his better ones. The ball has to bounce your way.
Right.
But in my eyes tell me this is the best Gator baseball team I've ever seen because of the sticks in the lineup and your two stud pitchers.
Oh, boy.
Jack Keggs is a good pitcher, but he ain't a great pitcher right now.
He's a great all-around player, though.
There's no question. The other two dudes are as good a pitchers as I've seen put on a Gator uniform.
Yeah, Sproat was really good, and both pitchers. And I'll tell you what, I thought we were going to have a guy finish the game the other night, finish the whole game, but he didn't. He got taken out right toward in the eighth. But pitched a beautiful ball game. We saw that. Then you got Neely out of the bullpen. Here's the thing about Sully, and I want to just take a second here. Here's the thing about these. Think about the national championships that they won recently. You got the golf. We talked about JC and what happened there. What a beautiful thing that turned out to be. His strategy. You look at that and say, he had all the right players on the course at the right time. And you go to baseball. Sully has those pitchers all pitching their best right now. He set this whole thing up, and Francis and I talked about it last night on my show. He wrote about it. He has pitching rotations set. It didn't really matter that much that they'd lost in the SEC. And Mouse Holloway, he basically knew he wasn't going to have a chance to win the SEC because he had 7 events, and he knew if he got scored in those, they had a chance. They win the national championship. Wonderful strategy. Kudos. And now Sully's got a chance. And the answer to your question is it's a baseball team, best baseball. I'm not qualified to say it because I didn't see those other teams that much. As a former baseball player for myself, I didn't see them all. But here's the thing: the proof's in the pudding. If they win it all, you got to start talking like that because what you're talking about is the journey. Is getting there and then having things come together at the right time. Well, it's the whole thing in the A team. I love when the plan comes together. I think what we've seen in recent weeks between the coaching strategy and the fans, the joy of the fans, including the Canadian Open, has been something to behold, Shane.
There's no question. Alan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, the team with Jackson Coher and Brady Singer was the best pitching, but this was the most offensive hitting club in many, many years. The total lineup can hit. Yeah, and I know Jackson Coher and Singer's pitching in the big leagues, but I'm telling you right now, Hurston, I always want to call him Thurston.
I know, Hurston or Houston.
Yeah, Hurston to me is the best pitcher I've seen put on a Gator uniform.
Really? He's the best? I mean, Brady Singer.
Buddy, I told JC this yesterday when I was over at the game, or no, it was before the game. It was during the week last week. I was over on campus, and some people that are very close to the program that they basically said that Sully and the staff said that he has the best stuff of anybody they've ever coached.
Really, I saw that quote too.
So
to see for Walter to be that strong, that long, and the clutch pitches he made at the right time. He's blazing it, but he wasn't just throwing a fastball. He had a lot of other things happening too. You're right. He's one of the best I've seen. Now, Shane, what a great time to have those guys pitching like this going to Omaha.
Yeah, there's no question. Andy says Cade Curlin needs to produce. He's been off his game the last 2 weeks.
He has, but he's
give him a break. Give him a break. He should be going to his senior prom right now.
Right.
But he'll be fine. He's a hell of a baseball player. Tony, who knows Gator athletics extremely well, he says the 2017 had better pitching. Faedo, Singer, Kohler, and Byrne. Yeah, Byrne was phenomenal coming out of the pen.
I can understand.
That group had the clutch gene at the plate. Waldrop slider is insane. Kept pitch count low too. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Shane, I don't call them clutch genes. There's an old saying made famous by my friend in Denver years ago, adopted by Terry Bradshaw on the NFL Today show, called championship genes. All right. Championship genes. Okay. Genes, genes. And that guy's got championship genes.
Well, this team has a very good chance of winning it all. So hopefully the bats can stay hot and just play good, solid baseball, and we'll be okay. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show and Gator Bait Media. We're also going to have his partner, Franz Beard, join us in the second portion to talk a little Gator recruiting and all that stuff. I'm laughing at a comment on here. Buddy, my other thing I wanted to ask you, obviously, I think you either had Urban on your show or did an interview with him. And I had a couple of people text on the Titan our text line the last couple of days wanting me to ask you today, what did Urban say about the program that's going to be on Netflix? Is it kind of a good deal, or is it going to show a lot of bad crap?
Yeah, you and I talked about this a lot last couple of weeks, and you wondered the same thing. And you said, and Fran said, I've heard this, I've heard that. It's going to be a hit job, whatever. So, yeah, I had Urban on for a good 23 minutes, and that was kind of him to be on with me and talk about that. He told me a couple of things. That was one, is that, no, he feels like it's going to be a positive show. He feels very good about it. He's been totally involved with the people at Netflix. He said, sure, there's some things that didn't go the way I wanted it to go. You know, and I pointed to him up. I don't think you can see it from here. There's a book up on here it is, on my shelf called Urban's Way. I said, you might have heard of it, Urban. You know, and the bottom line was there were some things in there he probably didn't want. But as a writer, I had to write it that way. And I told you the other day that no producer worth his salt would ever say, oh, I won't say anything negative about you. I won't ask any questions. You got to give them a little leeway because it brings integrity to what you're doing. And Urban feels very positive about it. He told me a little bit about it. He didn't tell me everything. I gave me some names of people going to be on it. And he's very proud of it, I think. So I would say that's a thumbs up from Urban on that Netflix show. And the second thing he told me, Shane, which I found interesting, other people wrote about it in the interview, not about me, but about Urban. I said, you know, this is a difficult thing to turn around, this Gator football program, and fans don't know what to do. And he said, give it time. You got a really terrific coach there. You know, it takes time. Give him time. It's, you know, and it can be turned around. He said, you can do it. They can do it there. So those are two things that seem to make a lot of social media.
Yeah. So we'll see. When is that supposed to come out?
August.
In August? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have him on again before that, and we'll report to you what we find out.
Andy says Pat Dooley is in the know on the documentary. He was interviewed for 4 hours. Okay, so Dooley is going to be a movie star, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dooley's in for big time at Pat. Yeah. And by the way, Urban did say there were other people he wanted on the show that he didn't have to say on who was on. So I think a lot of it gets left on the cutting room floor, as we know. I mean, I've had ESPN come to my house and stay here 4 hours, 5 hours, you know, interview and come back and do two-minute bites. That's just how it is. So who knows what's left on the cutting room floor.
But here's a good question. A text just came in on the Titan More text line from Barbara. She says, buddy, you've written a lot of books, especially about football coaches. Will you ever write a book about a guy, say, like Mike Holloway?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And I mean, I could make a case for Mike Holloway. I said this last night to you on the show. I don't know Mike Holloway, but what he's done, his record, he could be the greatest coach in the history of the University of Florida, based on results.
Oh,
a guy who was a volunteer coach at Buchholz. Okay. Yeah. And he comes out and he wins all these championships. He's amazing. I mean, he needs to have a statue of him I mean,
well, I don't know if you saw it, but Mary Wise tweeted that they should name the road that goes. I don't even know the names of the roads on campus.
Yeah.
The road that goes parallel with University Avenue that goes by the new football facility to the back part of the track.
Right.
Name it Paula Way and make the way in capital.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I think that's a no-brainer because it
that's
goes right by the track.
That's what that was. Urban's Way. That was when I wrote the book and titled it that. But that's about naming a street after him called Urban's Way. So I like her idea. I like her thinking. I think it's due time that Mike Holloway be recognized for the fantastic job he's done and the glory and honor. Look, he not only won the men's championship with 7 events, and then he almost won the women's. He finished one. I mean, and then he taught his team and his players how to act. And he told them all, cool your jets, let's be respectful. And you notice the humility that all those, and track guys are usually kind of flaky, right? They're kind of, but these guys are all respectful. I mean, the way they conducted themselves, I think, is a testimony to Mike Holloway. Yes, I think it's time to honor Mouse Holloway.
Yep. So there you go, buddy. Barbara says go write a book on him.
Look, it's not up to me. It's up to the publishers. They want it. I'm here. Call me.
Greg says, just like Condron Hollow Way. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. It drives me insane. Buddy, I'm very observant, and some of our viewers and listeners are as well. The way our spacing is on Condron.
I saw it. I thought the same thing. Condron, yeah.
Yeah, Condron. So that's why we call it Condron. So
well, here's what I'd call it. I'm going to start calling it the Con.
Yep. Tony says, ask here on Facebook Live, can any of those track guys catch? Stacy Simmons and Tony Lomack ran.
Great point. Yeah. Wow, can you imagine? Ryan Willie. I mean, what a quarter he ran, man. Phenomenal. Yeah, they're special. That's just. I'm gonna go back to one thing. You asked France about this next hour. Ask him about the night we were sitting in Miami in Denny's at 3:00 in the morning with Tim Casey after Florida won its 2nd national championship, beat Oklahoma. All right, we're sitting there. He talks about it all the time. Ask him what we said. Ask him what went on, and you'll think about this. Will put it in perspective. Just remind friends of that night. He'll tell you all about it.
All right, I will do that for sure. So as we said, the College World Series is all set. Mm-hmm. On the Gator side, if you missed it, it's TCU Oral Roberts. They play game 1, game 2 Friday night. The Gators and the Virginia Cowboys. Buddy, you ever been out to Omaha?
I have never been. It's one of the 2 or 3 events I've never been to, although I've had opportunities, and it must be quite an experience. And college baseball, well, is just killing it, man. The crowds, the excitement it generates. I mean, I know some people don't even like to talk about baseball. If you can't get excited about college baseball, especially if you're one of the 8,000 and something or 17,000 in 2 games at the con, then I think there's something wrong with you. Shane, you were there. You know what it's like out there. There was, and I hate to use the word electric because it's a cliche, but that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Shane says on Facebook Live, Mouse coached him at GHS back in 1984.
Wow.
So I guess he coached at GHS in Buchholz.
And Buchholz.
And, yeah, Greg, we are playing at night, 7:00 Eastern. So it's supposed to be 6:00 out there. You never know out in Omaha, weather delays and stuff. So I would assume it would start on time.
We got a real problem, Shane, because ESPN plays whack-a-mole with us. You try to follow where the game
here's the thing. The College World Series will be on
ESPN. Right now, finally. But the other one's like they switch around. You're having to switch it over to ESPN Plus. You go back over. You're on US. I mean, it's crazy. They totally screwed that. You can't handle a weather delay. It was awful. I wanted to throw my clicker through the screen of the TV about 3 times, man. Just ridiculous trying to watch it. But anyway, you're right. We'll all be on one network. We'll be able to watch it and enjoy. Hey, this is going to be a great week, Shane. We're going to have primetime golf because it's on the coast. LA Country Club, right? We got that going on, and we've got Omaha, and we got the U.S. Open. So
yes, and we're going to do some U.S. Open picks. Me and you're going to do some here in a second. Daryl texts again on the Titan Mar text, and he says, "Guys, I checked into tickets for Omaha." And the tickets for the championship round are over $600 a piece.
You gotta be kidding
per
me.
game in the upper deck. I think I will take up TV for that if the Gators make it that far. Yeah. Somebody asked me that, maybe it was my daughter asked me, she goes, Dad, are you going to Omaha? And I was like,
Yeah.
because I've been to obviously Florida National Championship football games. I've been to basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out when the Gators played in the championship series in OKC. I was never there when they won it. Every time we played in it in the championship series, we lost. So I wasn't allowed to go back, Tim said. So I haven't been back, but I've never been out to Omaha. Maybe if they make the championship series, maybe I get on a plane and go. But
Well, Shane, you got
so damn long out there.
Well, I've never been either, and I played baseball in Florida, as you know. I have a thing over there.
Buddy, here's the deal. If they make the championship series, all them horse people down in Ocala have private planes. Let's go.
Well, you get us a plane, I'll think about it. All right. But I'm telling you, it's gonna listen. It's a great seat right here, Shane. If we ain't gonna put up with the ESPN playing whack-a-mole this time around, so we'll see. But there's a lot to keep up with right now. There's been a great couple of weeks for for sports on TV. It really has.
Yeah, it has. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. We're going to do a little Peachland Dental golf U.S. Open picks. Me and Buddy. I'll do mine with JC tomorrow. But boy, like you said, Buddy, I know a lot of people hate it when we talk golf, but it's the U.S. Open is one of my favorites because they make the course extremely difficult. If you're the average golfer or don't watch it, it's always beautiful to watch these boys struggle like you do when you go out to your local country club.
Yeah.
But the rough is like nothing I've ever seen.
It's what you said, really. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how deep it is. So having said that, Buddy, we're going to pick some golfers. Who you got?
You put me on the spot. Well, last night we did our long shot. We picked our long shot on my show. You picked Max Homa, I believe. And I, by long shot, it was Tony Finau. That's my long shot. Now, the winners, how many can I give you?
Give me 4.
All right. Victor Hovland.
That's a good one.
Okay.
He's hot.
Yeah, he is. I'd like to pick Spieth because it's in my contract with my wife, but I can't because he's injured right now. So that's going to be tough. So I will go there. I'm going to take. God, I want a big Ricky fella, but he just can't win this damn thing. I'm going to take Colin Morikawa. Okay.
All right. You're taking a California boy.
Yeah. And I'm going to take. I'm going to take Tom Kim.
Tom Kim, one of my favorites.
I know. We talked about it last time. So is that enough? Or do you need one more?
You get one more pick, buddy.
Okay, let me see what I can find.
What about your boy? You got to take Jordan Spieth for your wife.
Okay, but I want Hideki Matsuyama.
All right, you're going the great Japanese player, Hideki.
Yeah.
All right, so here's who my picks are for against Buddy. I'm going to take Xander Schauffele because he's a Canadian. I don't always take him, but he's a good driver of the golf. You better drive the ball in the fairway.
Well, he's having a hard time right now. Schauffele is awful.
Well, he's from California. He knows the grass out there.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to take another California kid, Patrick Cantley, one of the best putters on tour.
I do like him. And
then I'm going to take my guy who just, when it comes major time, he says, "Buckle up, boys. I'm going to whip your ass."
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka.
Yeah. Okay, Brooks.
And then my last
just be lucky you're back on the PGA Tour.
My last pick is another guy that I love, but if he drives the golf ball in the fairway, he will win this tournament. Cam Smith.
You always pick him too. Those two guys you pick.
Well, I haven't picked them because him and Koepka weren't part of the tour. Remember,
they were in the majors, but they were in the majors.
Yeah, they were. They were. For sure.
So who do I have now? Tell me.
You got Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, Tom Kim, my favorite, and Hideki Matsuyama.
All right.
And your long shot was Tony Finau. My long shot is Max Homa.
Okay. Well, keep
up.
Right,
Joseph says, did y'all see where Lagway hit like 20.3 miles per hour in the spring game for what it was worth? The fastest play by QB in the NFL last year was Lamar Jackson at 20.5.
I can't keep up with all that, Shane. There are too many numbers out there. There's a number for everything. Analytics and all that drives me crazy after a while. I see Bill James, the great baseball godfather who wrote the book on this stuff before there were analytics, says enough already with all these new stats. let's go back to the basics: RBIs, home runs. The things that really count. I mean, I get all these. My brain won't. I can't get all this stuff. It's helpful sometimes, but I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know. Is it going to help them win games at Florida? Maybe. I can't comprehend it, Shane. You tell me.
Well, shoot, I don't know the answer, buddy. If I did, I wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Yes, you would, because you love doing it with me. You'd be doing it anyway.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get you out of here, I got a couple of Facebook lives I wanted to read. This one is Andy says, Shane, when you were in the booth last weekend, how impressed were you with Sean and Cardozo working together? I think they're great. I think Jeff does a great job, no matter who his partner is, whether it's Steve Russell, but Sean, calls a lot of major league games for ESPN. Mm-hmm. He's really a baseball guy.
Yeah.
And I think they got great chemistry together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I listen to him a lot when I'm
out at the ballpark. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Cardozo is the most underrated guy of anybody. He knows his stuff, man. I'm getting used to some of his vernacular, how he describes things. Sean is still feeling his way in terms of being the Gator guy, He's a really talented broadcaster, but I think they're good together. But I think Cardozo deserves a special mention because I think he is a unique person. And I hope that whole thing with the golf course gets straightened out there, Shane. Yeah. It'd be disastrous to see that golf course be gobbled up.
I agree. Young kids need a place to at least learn how to play the game.
I did hear this rumor. I got this hot rumor for you.
What's that?
I'm not said it to anybody. It's breaking news. I'm only going to tell you this one time, and don't ask me to prove it. There's a good chance Florida's going to get a brand new golf course. Okay.
Well, they've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, but there's something in the wind now. There's something actual, right?
Yeah, I know Fred Ridley's been a part of it.
Pretty good name.
Yeah, but they've been talking about that for about 3 years now, so it needs to happen. Joseph says Oklahoma star pitcher, Jordy Ball.
Yeah,
she's transferring to Nebraska. She's not only a star pitcher, she's the best pitcher in all of softball. Mm-hmm. She's going back home to play for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I don't understand it.
Shane, you asked me this last night. I think you're totally wrong on this. Totally wrong. She's going back to her home state to bring some.
I don't give a damn.
Well, she does.
I guess she must. I don't think she's homesick.
She's being true to her roots. Okay, give her a break.
She left, so she wasn't too true to her roots.
Well, nobody really wanted her then, probably. But what about you, Shane?
She was she was the number one player in America, buddy. That's why she went to Oklahoma.
Well, what if you got called to go home and do Ole Miss broadcasts or whatever? I mean,
only thing I can think of is Nebraska's going to pay her about $500,000. I heard this rumor. Of course, they're all rumors when it comes to NIL, right?
Yeah. What else do we have?
Somebody was telling me that OU is paying players in softball $300,000 to $400,000 to play softball. Think about that.
I don't even know anymore. Anymore. That's why I want to say it one more time but don't forget to ask Franz about. By the way, Franz did a terrific job on covering baseball. His baseball writing has been exceptional, and he's just killed it out there. Been covering all the games and stuff. But I just want to say that. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so despite NIL, despite all those things, what we've seen in college sports alone in the last 3 weeks, from the Gator golf team to the track team, now the baseball team, it defies all that and circumvents all the NIL stuff. And that's the great thing. It's the antidote of NFL NIL greed. I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff as always. Buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
David Whitley's back from Hawaii. We're going to have Kyle Curtis on, and we're going to give away some stuff from Spurrier's with Lauren Meadows, the coach of trivia.
Let everybody know if they still want to subscribe to Gator Bait. How they do.
Yeah, please, folks. You're missing great stuff if you don't. I mean, really, our last week, I was so proud of our team, what we did. Go back and look at these stories. It didn't cost that much to join. Go to GatorBaitMedia.com, pick out a plan, look at it, see if you like it. If you do, subscribe. You will not be sorry. I'm telling you, because the stuff we have, and now we've got Allie Pete Wilbur joining us on the Wednesday nights. She's going to be doing a column for us and Most Wanted and Recruiting. It's great stuff. Please check it out. It's GatorBaitMedia.com.
Good stuff, buddy. Have a good day,
Thanks,
my man. We'll talk to you next week.
Shane. All right. Thank you.
That's the great, good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Going to take a quick time out. We come back. We'll be joined by Franz Beer from Gator Bay. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Prime and Pearl, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Skechers, F45, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the #1 celebrity polished casual restaurant in America. We'll see you at Celebration Point. Going to go to the Titan MR Hotline now. We're joined by Franz Beard. Good morning, Franz. How you doing, my man?
Oh, beautiful day in the neighborhood, Shane.
Hey, before we start talking about Gator baseball and some recruiting and all that stuff, Buddy wanted me to ask you because I guess it stems from we had a couple of listeners talking about football players running track. He wanted me to ask you about the night after the national championship game in Miami at the Denny's when you were eating pancakes early in the morning.
Well, he and Tim Casey and I were eating. We'd finished writing, putting stuff up. I think it was like about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And we're having breakfast. And Buddy said, we need to enjoy this because these things don't happen all the time. And it may be a while before it happens again. It's kind of prophetic because it's been a long time. It's been 15 years since the last national championship. And Florida fans expect, Steve Spurrier spoiled Florida fans. I mean, let's face it, when you win 6 SECs in 12 years, when your program is only outside the top 10 once in 12 years, people, you cultivate an expectation. And how many times have the Gators finished in the top 10 since then? I think twice. I think Dan Mullen's last year, maybe, and also the 2012 season. Those might be the only two times that the Gators finished in the top 10 since that. Well, 2009, obviously, but since Urban left. but there haven't been any championships. East Division, yeah, that was 2009. McElwain did it twice, and Florida did it once under Dan Mullen, but that's it. So I think there's a yearning here, and I we haven't been as bad here, I don't think, as some of the some of the schools. I mean, at Alabama, you go 15 years to a national championship, you got people jumping off the ledge or off the bridge into the water. But it's been a while, I think, Shane, I think it's more of a case of being in the hunt. I think people, I think if you could be a consistent top 10 program, people would figure, well, our day is coming. It's just a matter of time. But we're in the situation now where it's been so long that I think people just automatically expect the worst. It's kind of like the old Murphy's Law thing, anything bad that can happen will happen, and at the worst possible moment. And I think that's where Florida fans are right now.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. All right, let's switch gears to baseball right now. And I asked Buddy this question. I asked our listeners. You follow baseball. You cover it year in and year out. I watch it. I watch, when it's on TV, I go to a few games, but I really watch it during postseason. I personally think this is the best team Sully's ever had. I think it's the best team I've ever seen Florida baseball ever have. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win it, but with the pitching and the way they swing the bats, give me your thoughts on that, Franz.
Well, if they're not the best, then they're close to it. I'll just say that. You could argue about that 2017 team because they did win the national championship. But here's the thing about this team is they're peaking at the right time. And this is the thing that you like about them is that they had their struggles early. For example, the bullpen. You remember the Jacksonville game where they gave up 10 runs in the last 2 innings and couldn't get anybody out. Well, that bullpen's pretty much nails now. They get people out. The starting pitching, they had all 3 of them had control issues. All of them throw in the 98, 99, 100 miles an hour range, but they couldn't keep it in the strike zone, let's just say. Now, all of a sudden, they're throwing strikes, and they're consistently throwing strikes. And that's what makes this team so dangerous. The hitting, once you get into the postseason, the hitting comes and goes because you're facing teams. For example, South Carolina was super regional. You got 2 games, 3 games at the most. You're going to see them load up their staff, throw the best they have, everything they've got. They had Will Sanders as one of their starters, comes in there Friday night. He gives up the home run to BT Riopel and to Shelnut. And this is one of their starters. And that's how this game is played. Once you get into the super regionals, all of a sudden it's a best 2 out of 3. Now we go into this, into the way the College World Series is set up, and you have 2 brackets of 4. Okay. You win your bracket, the other team wins its bracket, and the most you're going to play in this whole thing is 6 games. That's it.
Yeah, and when you look at the way the bracket's set up, obviously on paper, our side of the bracket, I don't want to say it looks easy. It ain't easy because this is postseason baseball. But you don't have LSU or Wake Forest on your side. Mm-hmm. What do you think the Gators should be able to play for the national title the way the bracket is set up?
I like Florida's chances because I don't think TCU hits the ball well. TCU reminds me an awful lot of the Texas Tech team we faced, which means they're dangerous for sure. But we found the answers with Texas Tech, and TCU's a lot like that. Oral Roberts, I don't know if Oral Roberts has the kind of pitching you got to have at this level. Now they did win their regional. They did get out of, they started out in Vanderbilt and they won that regional, but Vanderbilt kind of helped them out a little bit, let's just say, by tanking early on. So this is a team, Oral Roberts is a team that actually scares me a lot more than most of these others. Now, Virginia is formidable. They got 4 guys that can hit the ball out of the park that have double-digit home runs. Florida's got 6, by the way, which is pretty, Florida's never had a team that had 6 guys hit 10 or more home runs. Never had.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's why.
In fact, they've only had 3. I think it's 3 times that they've only even had 3 guys that hit 10 or more. They've never had 5 guys that have hit 15 or more ever. And that's what you got on this team. You got power. I like the way that the guys down at the bottom of the lineup came through. It's like Tyler Shelnut hit a home run and a 2-run and a single there on Friday night. Saturday, he moves the runners along twice, and we score both times. So you're talking about a guy that, and I like his story, by the way. Comes from Fort White. I asked him, I said, how many more people were at the stadium than live in Fort White? He says, how many people were there? I said 8,400. He says about 8,000 more.
That's very true. Very true. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. A few more minutes with Franz Beard here on the Titan Mar Hotline. We have a text for you, Franz, from Bob. He wants to know, Franz, can you give us your thoughts, your honest thoughts on how recruiting is going for the Florida Gators in football?
I think it's going better than what people think. People want to see landing all the 5 stars, and it's great when you can do it. But as we've seen with some of the programs that have landed a lot of players, it's almost like they're throwing stuff against the wall and hoping it'll stick, because they're not necessarily recruiting to their needs as much as they are recruiting for the big stars and everything like that. And you've got to be systematically go after the people that fit what you need. If you need 4 tackles this year, if you get 4 3-star tackles that you believe in and can do the job, then it's been a successful year. If you need 4 and you only get 2, it's been a bad year, even if the 2 are 5-star guys. So Billy, I think, has a real handle on the numbers situation, getting the right number of players that fit the program where he wants them to be. And I'll throw one other thing in too. He's really, really big on recruiting character. And if you look at what's going on up in Georgia right now, I don't know if you read this article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, but there have been 300 traffic violations in Kirby Smart's time, of which 60 can be deemed serious. And one, of course, is pretty famous now because you had Jalen Carter street racing with a recruiting assistant who had a starting offensive tackle in the car. And, of course, Jalen Carter, the wreck happens, 2 people are killed. Jalen Carter leaves the scene of the accident, goes home, sobers up, comes back 4 hours later and goes, oops. And what has Georgia done since then? Georgia's gone, oh my, oops. Lot of, there's a lot of low character stuff going on up at Georgia, and they seem to be trying to sweep it under the rug. Sooner or later, you get more dirt under the rug than you can sweep under there. And I think that's where Georgia's heading. Billy, how many arrests have we had since Billy's been here? Do you know?
I would say 0.
That's exactly right. We haven't had that. He's recruiting high character guys that he knows will fit the program, etc., like that. And I'll throw one other thing at you, Shane. And I looked extensively at what happened when Billy went to Louisiana. They went 7-7 that first year. They lost some games they should have lost. They shouldn't have lost. Won some games they shouldn't have won. Went 7-7. In the offseason, people were lamenting. They said, oh, look at all the guys transferring out. He had like 50-something guys that he started with in 2018 who weren't there in 2019. And look what happened. He goes 10-3 and 3 consecutive double-digit win seasons. I see a lot of similarities here. The perception is that because they couldn't get off the field last year on third down, and because the offense was here one day, gone the next, you know, Anthony Richardson was not, you know, as talented as he is, he was not a consistent guy last year. And now you replace, you know, a brand new defensive coordinator, and people still expect last year's defense. And you got the most famous Mertz since Fred Nethel. Yeah, you know, he's the new quarterback, and a lot of people are saying, oh, everybody's saying. I mean, Matt Hayes, who's a writer I respect a lot, I think a lot of Matt. But Matt Hayes rates Graham Mertz the number 14 quarterback out of 14 quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference.
There's no way.
I don't think
that's 100% going to be wrong. Yeah. So yeah, we got one more text. We'll get you out of here, friends. And we appreciate your time as always. This is Bob in Houston on the Titan Mar text line. What's the latest with Austin Simmons?
he's going to be a Gator.
Like this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be here for summer B. Count on it.
Okay. And he's planning to play football and baseball, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And quite frankly, Shane, baseball is going to be his ticket.
That's what I was told, that he's a better baseball player than he is football player.
Big left-handed guy with a sweeping curveball and a fastball that moves. 91, 93 mile an hour fastball. As we saw with Cade Fisher, if you got a 93 mile an hour fastball and you're a lefty and the ball moves, you do pretty well. So he's that, and he's smart. If he can, he's going to be in here ahead of DJ Lagway, and everybody is pointing out, oh boy, DJ Lagway, this is the answer. This is the golden child going to bring us back to the promised land. But here, I think the kid's smart. He says, okay, I'm not going to come in a year behind him. I'm smart enough. I'm coming in a year ahead of him. And when he gets here, I'll already know the offense. I'll already know everybody in the locker room. I'll have relationships. I'll have their confidence, etc. He could become a scout team All-American this year.
Yeah, he could. Joseph says here, I hate to say it, but you need a few loose cannons on your team. Laugh out loud. Think about the guys from the 06 through 08. We had preachers and guys that would fight the tow truck driver.
Oh, the one who fought the tow truck driver is going to spend a lot of time in an orange jumpsuit over the next 25 years too. So, yeah, I've often made the comment that you don't necessarily win big with a team of Boy Scouts, and everybody would love to have 22 Tim Tebows. And as far as you've got that attitude that, oh, I'll run out, when you're doing mat drills, I'll dive chest first on the concrete to win, and I'll get it there and scream at guys and grab them by the face mask. You had a guy that used to do that on your team. You had a guy named Tony Rowell who would grab people in the face mask, and he'd tell the guy on the offensive line next to him, you either block somebody or else we're going to be having it out after the game. And I think Tony Rowell is one of these guys that if there's a bar fight, you want him on your side.
You're damn right. There's no question about that. So,
and yeah, you got to have some guys like this. I believe this is the guy, Micah Mazuka, the guy they brought in from Baylor. I made a comment. I asked Rob Sale a question back in the spring, and he says, this guy looks like he comes ready to get in a bar fight. He said he comes with that attitude. That's where you want your attitude guys. You want your attitude guys up front, because your attitude guys up front are going to beat people to death. And if you're a quarterback, attitude guys are your best buddies, because Hey Shane, you didn't last 14 years in the NFL for no reason. You played on teams that you got on teams, with the exception that year in Washington, you had on teams that blocked people. And if you don't have people that block people, the quarterback gets hurt.
That is very true. Friends, great stuff as always. We appreciate your time, and we'll have to talk to you. Hopefully the Gators find a way to get to that championship series. Should be fun. Have a good Father's Day weekend, and we'll talk to you soon, my man.
Take care.
That's Franz Beer joins us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take a quick timeout, come back, get to this day in sports, and wrap up a few things you're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. I want to thank Buddy Martin and Franz Beer for joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Love having them on the program. Hope you folks do too. Got great stories and good comments. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. In 2012, the San Francisco Giants, Matt Cain, pitches the first perfect game in franchise history against the Houston Astros. That was in 2012. Matt Cain throws a perfect game for the Giants. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Tonight, hockey, Stanley Cup. I would assume the Golden Knights wrap it up. If you missed it last night, the Denver Nuggets are your champs, your world champs of the NBA. And congratulations to them, the best team in the league by far. Brian says on Facebook Live, everyone says Billy's on the hot seat. Why? What has he done to be on this? Brian, that's just the fans. Billy is not going anywhere for a long time unless he decides to take a job elsewhere on his own. He has a plan. I think he's a very good football coach. He's calculated. He's going to do a tremendous job. Some people may have saw the article in the Athlon magazine. If you didn't, there was an anonymous head coach or coach in the Southeastern Conference that said that Billy took over their worst talent that they've ever seen on a Florida Gator roster in over 20-something years. And I agree with that. My eyes did not lie to me over the last few years. I think this team coming up this year, people don't think they're going to win a lot of games. I do. It's still not where the talent needs to be, but this team, in my opinion, will be better than last year's team. Hope you had a great day listening to our program. We appreciate your time chiming in and being a part of our program. Have a great day, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.